Hello, I'm Michael Tailweaver. I take playthroughs of AI Dungeon and turn them into narrated and illustrated stories for your enjoyment. And if you've never heard of AI Dungeon before, then, well, what the heck are you doing with your life? Well, what it is, really, is a artificial intelligence that acts as your dungeon master. And what it does is takes each and every one of your inputs and actions and generates a story out of that. And sometimes it's quite coherent, and other times it's not so much. Um, in fact, it's well known for being hilariously random. And the best part about it really is that you can do anything you want, and every story is different. And yeah, with that said, and without further ado, let's just dive right in, shall we? Rodberg City. It's quite large and industrialized. All walks of life live here, from the higher-ups that live in the tops of the skyscrapers to the lowest of the low, which is where you are. You are Isaac, a man in his early 30s that lives in a makeshift home in an alleyway. Your home is constructed of cardboard boxes and other random bits you've found during your time living in the streets. You were once an artist that made a decent living until things started to go south and you could no longer pay your bills. You stopped drawing and eventually things led here. It's later in the evening and the chill is beginning to set in, despite your layers of ragged shirts and coats you still have. All you can ever think about these days is how you could possibly make any money and live a decent life. While you're thinking this, you notice two men meeting up secretly in the alleyway that you're in. One of them hands the other a large envelope filled with money, looking as if it's stuffed to the brim with something. They don't even notice you watching and listening in on the conversation. Hey, what do you think we should get for tomorrow? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. What kind of stuff? Well, you know. Yeah, but what about drugs? We need some of those. Oh yeah, I've got some weed in my car. That's great. What color is it? Green? Okay then. You stay in the shadows and move slowly closer to them. You must look like a complete fool sneaking around like this. One of the men takes the envelope and looks in it. I think some is missing. There's only $50 here. Are you sure? I'm not positive, but I should know for sure in a few minutes. You notice a perfectly ripe banana next to you, so you take it. You're hungry and a perfectly ripe banana is the next best thing to money, so you hold it in your hand and try to look inconspicuous. You decide to eat the banana while you continue to watch the men who are talking. They've been going about their business as if you weren't there, but they don't seem to notice you yet. The man holding the envelope says something about waiting for his friend. I'm gonna get a coffee, and by the time I'm done, you should have your 5,000. Cool. The two men part ways as you finish eating the banana and decide a good time to strike is now. You run over to the man with the envelope when he's about 50 feet ahead of you, and you jump on him, knocking him to the ground. You manage to grab the envelope as he turns around and stumbles backwards. What the hell? You start jumping up and down and hitting the man in the face with the envelope. You manage to put him in a chokehold and continue hitting him. You then let go of the man and run to the coffee shop. Unfortunately, the man has managed to get up and he's already chasing after you. Stop! Please stop! You get to the coffee shop and slip into the alleyway behind it. You dive into a garbage pail and then out, and then into another one. You didn't know there were two of them. You hide inside the pail and peek out to see if the man has stopped chasing you. You try to think of a way to escape, so you grab a piece of trash and throw it at the man's face. It lands in his eyes and he takes a step back, blinded. You jump out from inside the pail and run to the end of the alley, and turn left. You keep running and don't stop until you feel safe. You look down at the envelope in your hands and you realize you got away with the money. You open up the envelope and are surprised to find more than $50 in there. It's more than you thought, too. You count it out, and there's actually $75 in there. Your eyes drift over to the side, and you find a small shopping cart with a broom in it. You smile to yourself and push the broom into the corner of the alley. You decide that you're not going to run any more risk than necessary and that you need some fuel for the tank. You head to the coffee shop. The coffee shop is a mess, with piles of trash all in the middle of it. You step over a broken chair and head to the counter. Your eyes drift over to the side and you find 2 food items. The man at the counter is the man from the other conversation you were listening in on earlier. He sees you looking at him, and he smiles. He begins wiping down the counter and doesn't look your way again. So you pay for your coffee and head back out into the street. You find your broom in the corner of the alley again. You look at it and you smile. You pick it up and begin heading back to the coffee shop, where you bump into your friend from earlier. Are you the guy that bought that coffee? Yeah. You walk away, pretending you don't know him. Hey, wait! You continue walking, and don't turn around. Do you like milk with your coffee? No. You hold the coffee cup to your lips and sip. The coffee burns your tongue, and it feels like it's on fire. Are you okay? The man is looking at you like you're crazy, and now pulling his shirt collar away from his neck. You don't answer. You just keep on walking. Suddenly, you look up and see a police car pulling into the drive-thru of the coffee shop. The officer steps out and begins walking towards you. You wonder if he saw the man in the coffee shop with you. You sip your coffee and look at him stoically. You decide to continue the act of being a dumb jock and sip your coffee. The officer sees you and smells the coffee on your breath. He looks at you and smiles. You should really watch that drink. You squint at him. He turns and walks back to his car, disappearing inside and then reappearing with a cup of coffee. Cheers. He takes a sip of his coffee and then hands the cup to you. You take a sip, and it's awful. So I've been meaning to speak with you for a while now, but things kept getting in the way. He runs his hand through his hair and looks at you. I'm heading out of town for a little while, but I'll be back. I just wanted to let you know. I'm coming back. He takes a deep breath and exhales. The coffee burns your throat and you cough. Cool. And don't go drinking anything but the coffee here when I'm gone. He grins and slides into his car. He revs the engine and pulls out of the parking lot without looking your way. You watch as he drives off. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey from rags to riches. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed putting it together, and it's not over yet. If you want more of this kind of stuff and a continuation of the story, then by all means, like the video and subscribe. It'll keep me going for sure. And I plan on doing a new one every week, time permitting, and bringing you some crazy stories. So, yeah. The last thing I'd like to mention, though, is if you really liked AI Dungeon or liked playing it yourself, then by all means, consider donating to the creators, because it costs them money every time for you to play their free game. So, yeah. With that said, we'll see you next time, and take care.